Are we live? Oh man. Get ready, it says. Alright, we're live. Cool, 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 cool. Let me make sure that's muted. Alright, I don't think I need this page anymore. I don't even care about that BitMEX account because I don't even use that account. It's not even linked to anything. Give me like 10 seconds. I'm about to send this invite a couple places. Man, that's the only thing about live streaming. It makes my computer so slow. I might just create like a new link or something because I really don't like how slow this is making my computer. Oh man. See if we can get a Bitcoin chart up real quick. I was looking at the index of the US dollar earlier, so it keeps popping up. But I don't need this chart. Let's go to Bitcoin. Make that larger. Zoom out to the monthly real quick. Not on this chart. I have multiple charts, as you can see. You start to run out of like Bitcoin exchanges, so you have to keep like multiple copies of a chart. I like this one though. Yeah, let me zoom out to the monthly. All right, cool. Um, y'all give me like 10 seconds. I'm gonna send this invite out. I really just did this spur of the moment. I just saw something and I was like, oh shit, I can like probably show people in a video. And it's been a while since I've done one. Trying to think of how many. Somebody just said Weiss waves are super useful. Perfect. Glad I could help. And I'll show y'all what Weiss waves are in these videos. All right, I've pretty much put the link everywhere I care to put it. And again, I don't really care if people join. Cool thing about live streams is I can record the video and then it'll still be here even when we're done. But let's just go ahead and get started. I don't really feel like waiting for anybody. Nor do I really need anybody to do this. But this is something I kind of wanted to show people. I was very curious on just like the macro trend of what Bitcoin was doing. I was doing a lot of reading on the Dow Jones, and then also just like other indices of like the stock market, other traditional markets. So looking at Dow theory, looking at Wyckoff logic, etc. And so I just got curious with Bitcoin. Uh, so now I'm here looking at BitMEX. I know it doesn't have a lot of chart history, but that's fine because we kind of only care about what's going on right here. I was looking at the monthly candle for the month of May that's currently printing. Today is the 13th. And I was looking, and I'm confident that we're going to continue dumping. And actually, if you look on the weekly, which I'll show you in a little bit, we made a lower high. But what was interesting is that I saw this wick take out the highs of the previous wick, which basically means that the highs for the month of May went slightly above the highs for the month of April. And then it continued to go down. And so what I did was I put a line there because I was interested. And then the great thing about lines is like they're basically raised in both directions. So I can look in the future, but I can also look at the past. So this is really cool because now I can look and I'm looking at this line is very important. Like it's been important for the past, like, let's see, since November, right? And so what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at a case where we essentially took out the highs of this month. And the reason why that's important is because let's say you were short. Let's say you shorted this. You saw that the market was going downwards, right? You saw this and you're like, bet I want to short Bitcoin, but I'm not like day trading. I really only care about weekly and maybe even monthly views. So what you saw is you saw a retrace up to this line in the month of April, and then you went short maybe at the close of this candle or something with this, and then maybe you put your stop right above the wick, so right above the high of April. What this did was essentially, and if you you can't zoom in because the monthly chart kind of limited on zooming, but if you see, I'll put array here. That was the high for April, right? High for April, bottom. High for March. Let's put that back on the right. But yeah, so if you put your stop right above the wick, right above the high of April, you got stopped out, and now price is continuing to go further down. That's a very like bearish, traditional stop out the short, stop out the people who are correct, and then continue to go down, right? Punish people on high leverage with tight stops, whatever, whatever. Back when I still had a Twitter, I tweeted like high stops or loose stops all 2018 because I'm telling you, man, like you can be right, but the market will do everything it can to try and fuck you first before before it lets you know that you're right, right? It's like an argument and you know the other person's right, but you gonna bring up a whole bunch of other like bullshit to make them feel bad before you're like, you know what, you're actually kind of right. This is what it was. You saw this and you went to short it and you were correct, but the market kind of trailed up a little bit, took you out, and now it's looking like it's about to continue downwards a little more. Now, like I said, it's only May 13th. We have absolutely no idea. This could print as like the largest green candle in Bitcoin history. You know, we're doing TA, technical analysis. We're not in the fortune telling business. We're just trading the chart that's in front of us. And right now, what's in front of us looks like a stop run for short liquidity, right? Knocking out shorts before more downward continuation. Um, and then again, just to add to what I was saying about this level being very important, what's up? Is that we saw for this green candle for the month of November, we traded up, right? And we got all the way up here. You can see the wick for it is right there, right? But price closed here. This was the line that we respected for the month of this November. And then you see on December, you see this small lower wick right here. We actually, let me move the crosshairs. I think that's kind of messing people up. So we actually have the small lower wick right here, which means we tested that level, still respected it, and came up. Now we met more resistance here at 20K, but that's not relevant for what we're talking about now. What is interesting is though, after we met the resistance and we closed down here, we reached for more highs, but we dumped all the way down here. But look at the wick and then look at the close. We respected this close that happened 2 months ago, right? This is January, this is November. So well, I guess, yeah, this is the close of January. So 2 months ago, right? That's very important. And then you see for the month of February, we traded all the way down here. Look at this wick. It's ridiculous. Oh, that's the wrong indicator. This is almost $4,300, right? 4.3K dumped. That's the size of that wick. But look at where the candle finished. It closed all the way up here. We respected this line again for another month. By this point, this line here at 9,960 That is 3 months old, right? And we're still respecting it. And so now here you see we dumped below it finally. And so now what you're looking for, let's turn this off real quick, turn off price. What you're looking for, let's say you have a level. Put my crosshairs back on so I can see. So you have a level. This is a classic like foreign exchange. Pretty much most assets kind of behave like this, uh, called a kill zone. So price approaches a level. It will temporarily respect that level. It will then break that level. And then what you should be looking for as a trader is an entry on the retest of that level, right? So you're going to look for short entries here. And then this is you and your trade, right? This is how you set up your trade, right? And you put a stop somewhere above here and then profit down here. Cool, 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 cool. Let me move all of that. I think that's very important that you all know that. Called FX kill zones, but essentially all it is just a test of a level that you broke. And that's how you go long or short, depending on the use case. So if we're looking at here, how do you know when it's a good entry point? Okay, I can talk about more about that in a little bit. So definitely not every level you may want to trade. There are some levels that are stronger than others, and so we can go on like the characteristics of what makes a level strong or weak. Um, but here we have this line, and then if we want to make a zone, because trying to trade a single line, a single price point, $9,960.00, that's a losing person's game. You're never gonna win. You want to trade zones. So we're gonna look at here. We chose this because this is where price was running up, and then uh, it kind of traded above this level, but then came down. So this is a line that we respected. And then on the other end, same thing. When we were coming down, this was a price we respected on the dump. So this kind of zone is the area that you want to trade. Uh, and so as you can see, we actually just touched that zone, and now it looks like we're heading back down. That's very bearish behavior, right? So that's something. This was literally the reason for the pod or the live stream. I'm definitely gonna talk about much more than that, but I saw this and was like, oh, I have to tell people. In case you're trying to figure out if you're bullish or bearish. Another thing I was telling people, you want to look at the highs and the lows. So here we are. Weekly candles look so ugly. That's a lower high, or that's the all-time high. Here's a lower high, and forgive the arcs for looking so ugly. It's because we're on such a high time frame, the way TradingView set up. This is what just happened. Right? This was the previous week. It just finished closing. We have a high, the all-time high, 1, 2, 3 lower highs. What you also want to look at are the lows. So here's a low. The lows are basically going to be areas where we had like a green candle, more or less. So here, that was a low. That was a low. That was a low. It doesn't get any simpler than this. A series of lower highs along with lower lows is a downtrend. Like it's simple. Like people want to make it so much harder than it is. People want to try and pick a bottom. You will make so much more money trading with the trend than you will if you're right twice, right? And if you're right twice, what I'm referring to when I'm saying that is you pick the bottom and you pick the top, right? You catch the ultimate knife. I don't know if you just know the exact price point where any asset is going to turn, but that only happens twice, right? At the beginning of a trend and the end of a trend. I don't understand why that's appealing to some people, but it is. But you have everything that's occurring in between those 2 points, and that's where you could be making so much more money. Yes, you increase your risk reward and your profitability uh, by picking bottoms, but it's again, you have to be right twice. And every time you're wrong, you're decreasing your risk reward that you're trying to increase by picking a bottom. So my advice is just trade with the trend. If you turn log off real quick, that's the trend. That's it. TradingView has a nice little tool. It's called the linear regression tool. Make sure you turn log off down here. It's in the first thing with all these lines, regression trend. Draw from one point to another, and it will tell you the direction of the trend. Simple. But yeah, I wanted to show people this. I don't think people are paying attention. We have lower lows along with lower highs. Like there's nothing bullish about this. Stop trying to go long, right? You're trading retraces. Don't trade retraces. I mean, you can. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm no financial advisor. Trade all the retraces you want, but you'll make more money trading the trend than the retraces upwards. Other thing I want to show. So this is currently what I'm trying to get to. This is the short trade. I posted this in a couple telegrams, couple discords. It's on TradingView. So if you go to my TradingView, I should have linked that in the description. I didn't. Maybe I'll go back and edit that. But if you go to my TradingView, that's where I keep that trade. And so you can see we caught support on this level right here. It was previous resistance. Again, flipped to support. Again, the same thing I was showing with that little diagram earlier. You have resistance, it will flip. All right, that's just how markets work. And so now I'm expecting, I'm not saying predicting, but I'm expecting the same behavior for this black box right here, where you see it served as support here, right? It was holding price up, and then we broke it. And so now I'm looking for it to serve as resistance somewhere in this area, and that's where I'm trying to go short. High probability, low risk. That's the name of the game. So this will be a good time to get to Madam Crypto's question in the chat. Just like, how do you know when it's a good point for entry? Well, there's a couple things. I've been doing a lot of research on like these areas of market structures, what people call them, pivot points, whatever. These have a number of different names. For me personally, I like to see a level that's consistent. It's like a relationship, right? I want to see something that's faithful. It's worked over a long period of time. It does the same thing over and over again. Like I'm safe. I know that this is good for me, right? I want to be in a healthy situation. Some people will say that they like areas that are fresh and brand new. So I want a level that's never been tested before. They would probably think this is very appealing as a level of support, which it probably will be when we get down to it. If we get down to it, I'm not gonna say when. But some people like fresh zones. Me personally, I want to see that the level has been consistent over a long period or a decent period of time. Long depends on the time frame. So for me, if you see me zooming out, you see this level here served as brief support. Here served as resistance. Traded back into it, support. Traded back into it, resistance. Traded back into it, oops. All this is support. It was actually kind of support right here. And then almost like very briefly, it was resistance for that like one candle right there. We kind of came up into it. But as you can see, this is what makes this a good entry point for me personally. I want to see an area of structure that has been tested multiple times. The market loves to react to this price. In this case, this black box is on BitMEX between 8,800 and 8,921. So for me, I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, bet. We just broke that 8,800, 8,921 range. We're going to come back up and treat it as the opposite. So if we just had it as support and we broke it, we're going to treat it as resistance. And if we had it as resistance before, when we trade up above it, we're going to treat it as support, right? And so that's like, again, they're called Forex kill zones. You could Google it, and there's a lot of good information on there. But for me, this is what I'm looking at. I want to look for a wick or a touch or something in this area. Let me move my setup right there. And that's what makes that a good area. Same thing with this bottom. Again, let me move. Same with this bottom zone. I saw that, okay, this was a clean break of it. It was brief resistance here. You can see on this candle, we kind of came up in it with this wick, dumped down, again, large wick up, couldn't close above it. So it was brief resistance right there. Then it turned into support right here. Perfect entry, perfect. It was support right here. Again, a lot of wicks, no closes. We got a reaction right here as support. We never treated it like resistance again, which was kind of weird, but whatever. Small reaction in this area right here. Broke it. Oops, keep having my volume pop up. Support here. And then now we're looking at the future. Is it going to act as support down here? You know, this is the we don't know. That's what we're looking for. But we do know we will most likely high, because I'm not going to say like definitely nothing is absolute when trading, but we can say with high probability and low risk, we will experience a bounce right here. Or I'm not going to say a bounce. I'm not going to say what type of reaction. I'm just going to say I know that we will get a reaction right here. The type of reaction will depend on how fast price is approaching that level, and it will also depend on the volume profile when price approaches that level. But this is between 77.91 and 79.35 on BitMEX. And so that's what I would be looking for. Other things I want to show you all. Again, there's no like direction with this live stream. I'm just, so if you have a question, feel free to just ask it in the chat. As you can see, I just answered one, but you know, I don't have a direction. I'll go over everything until I feel like I've properly analyzed this. But I do have a couple charts to show you all. But this is a pitchfork. I showed this in my Telegram the other day. This like indicator, if you just type in what's it called, like pivot, and then you do the pivot points high low, and then you choose that, it'll show you basically just like local tops, local bottoms. You could totally eyeball this. You don't need it, but it just helps me with my life sometimes. So let me look at like the 12 hours. So yeah, this is what I was looking at. Oops, I don't know how that got there. Oop. Yeah, lock it again. But yeah, so I was looking at the 12 hour and I saw high, low, high. It made sense to me. I drew the pitchfork. Magnet mode, always use magnet mode, trying to hit wicks. And so I like this pitchfork because, you know, price is contained within it. I took out all the fibs for my pitchfork. I pretty much just used the one, if you're curious. And I saw for the median line, we got some type of reaction, a small bounce. And so I'm hoping for a bounce towards the intersection of the top of the pitchfork and this area of structure. Like this is literally, I'm continuing to build my case for this being an area of resistance. So for people who like diagonal lines, this is what I'm looking at, right? This diagonal support here from a pitchfork up until this diagonal resistance here. And then I would expect more downward continuation here. So I just wanted to show you all that pitchfork. If you go to the 12 hour, go to April 24th, April 25th, May 5th. Those will give you your anchor points. Looks like a solid pitchfork for me. I'll be looking for a break out of this pitchfork upwards to continue doing more analysis on it. And for some reason, if we just had like a death drop, I highly doubt this happens. Uh, yeah, yeah, I'll post this stream later. Yep. So I want to show you all that pitchfork. I think I have another chart I want to show. I think I have this one on Bitstamp. Yeah, go to the daily. So I've always posted this chart and told people like this is my most important chart. Um, so here I just drew a linear regression of the trend, or I guess I used the regression tool to show this is the trend, and these are like one or two standard deviations away from the trend. I forget which one it is. I like this as a trend because, as you can see, price cuts up this middle line multiple times, which is what you want to see for a median. You saw that we dipped out of this zone briefly, and we reverted to the mean almost immediately, right? Called mean regression. So here we are. This isn't as brief, but we've broken outside of the trend. And now I'm questioning, are we going to revert back to the mean, which would be brutal. I'm not saying we have to go to the bottom red part or even the median line, but somewhere in this blue zone, perhaps, right? So this is what I'm looking for. There's solid support right here. We completely rejected resistance right there. Boom. Nice hammer. I want to illustrate support real quick. Boom. Support. So now I'm looking at, let me put the mouse here. Hold on. All right. So now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, where is price going to go? Support is definitely here in this range, as you can see drawn. If we were to break that, that would be extremely scary because then we would turn that into resistance. That would not be good at all. The next support after that, somewhere over here around 5.4 to maybe like 6K. It's a large range, but I mean, Bitcoin is volatile, so you got to treat it with large ranges. Again, this is my most important chart in my opinion. This is the thing I look at the most, or I give the most credence to. We have to flip this into support, right? We have to. You saw we failed to do it. We're going to see if this support holds us up. If we even touch it, we should touch it. But yeah, a lot of people want to talk about like consensus in the news and the conference. Like, stop trading the news. It doesn't make sense. The news, man, everything that you see in the chart front runs the news. So everything you see in the chart has already encompassed all the news that you're about to hear. I promise you. Like, so if price dumps after some major news event, well, that was because whatever the news was, people were buying that beforehand. People were buying those fundamentals. So when it was finally became public, it was like it was overvalued at that point. It was overbought. And so it dumped, right? Similar situations for when things pump on news. It could be good or bad. Things like to dump on good news and pump on bad news. That's just how it happens. People told me, Bitcoin Cash was being sued. I pulled up the chart and it literally pumped the next day. I don't know. So stop trading the news. Like, not everything good means bullish. Not everything bad means bearish. Trade the chart. Draw your horizontals, diagonals if you like them. Use all the indicators you need to. Trade that. Pay attention to the news by all means, but like, don't trade it. Something else I want to show you all. Is this Coinbase? Yeah. So I want to show you all this fractal, double top with this bottom. I have no idea where this will bottom out. This is just like my guess. It could totally bottom out like here. But I'm just putting it right here because there's this area of resistance we never tested as support. If you look, you see this area of structure we have right here. So this was support. And then you saw that we traded back up into it as resistance. This would have been your ideal entry for a short. So I guess you would kind of look for the same thing here. You have this level of support and you're looking for like another touch of that level, and that'll be your entry point for a short. Same thing, fractals, double tops. I'm expecting a rounded bottom. I could probably label this fractal a little better. I think I might, maybe on the next live stream or the next post I have. Because even within this fractals, there are fractals, right? So there's the fractal for the double top, there's the fractal for the retrace up, there's the fractal for the rounded bottom, et cetera, et cetera. I just don't have those labeled. But I did want to show you all this. This will put the target at about 74, 75 on Coinbase. Again, I have no idea where the bottom for this fractal might be, but I'm more concerned with like the behavior, right? I want to see the behavior play out, and then from there, I'll use other things to find support and find a bottom. Let me see if I can show you all this real quick. Wyckoff distribution. Boom. See if we can get a textbook example. And then back to the chart on Bitfinex. Boom. Oh shit, did I miss a short entry? I think I might have. Oh damn. I'm a fool. Hold up. my short entry is a little higher. I was trying to catch a wick. We'll see. If I have to trade the breakdown, I'll trade it. Um but yeah, shit, you can be in a short right now. But so this is essentially, this is everything. Like this is everything you could ever want. Um in a chart. It makes too much sense. So here is the schematic. What you're looking for is some type of uptrend. You're going to have PSY. This stands for preliminary supply, right? So quick tutorial, supply and demand. When there's more demand than supply, i.e. more people are buying than selling, price goes up. If there's more supply than demand, i.e. more people are selling than buying, price goes down. So preliminary supply means supply is starting to creep in the market. You have a buying climax, which means everybody's FOMOing. You have an automatic reaction, which means price dumps after the FOMO, people bought the top. You have a secondary test, which is going to be a test of this high. Ideally, it should fall a little bit short. It doesn't have to, but it should be in this area. You're going to have a sign of weakness, which lets you know, damn, we're breaking the support from this zone. We're eventually going to trade up out of it, but the difference between the sign of weakness and like a shakeout, for example, if you're thinking bullishly, sign of weakness isn't gonna like be quick. It's gonna linger. It's like price is kind of comfortable down here, right? It's like, oh, it's not that bad. It's kind of low. The market doesn't hate this price, right? But eventually, it kind of comes back up. UT is an up thrust, so this is like low volume. This is trying to stop out shorts. This is trying to encourage people to buy the top because retail traders love to buy the top. UTAD, this is up thrust after distribution. So that means the distribution has already taken place here in phases A and B, mostly B. And so after we've already done all the distribution, which basically means large institutions, market makers, insiders, etc., have already done all their selling, they're going to push price up a little bit, again, to encourage more people to buy the top. That's all that is. It's a test for supply and demand to see if there's still buyers left in the market and see if there's still sellers left in the market, who's who and how much of each side is still available. Then it's going to dump. LPSY is like last point of supply. So it's basically just testing like, you know, pick up more people to buy the top here, like the local top. Okay, pick up some more people, another sign of weakness. And then you're going to trade the pullback after it breaks support. Literally, it's almost like almost point for point. Preliminary supply, buying climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, another secondary test in phase B, up thrust after distribution. Look at the volume. Look at the volume at the bottom. This is critical. It's showing you that this up thrust is pitiful. It's showing you that this is a local top, right? You have a test, pick up more people, trap longs, and then you basically want to short the area. Again, looking at the distribution, you want to short the area between the automatic reaction and the sign of weakness. We didn't really have a sign of weakness here until here. And so you're kind of looking at this area between this dump and this dump. And that's why I have that labeled short this area, which you saw we came into and we're starting to dump down. I'd like to get a little higher. I'd like a test of this area, to be honest, because I just want the best entry possible. Not saying it'll happen. But yes, short that area. This is Wyckoff. Please look at Wyckoff. I am going to put that in the chat. Please use that link. Read it every day. Read it 10 times a day. It's critical. I don't know why I have that link open. I don't use that BitMEX account. Like if you tried to hack me, you'd be sorely disappointed. There'd be nothing there. Let's see. Trying to think. If nobody else has any questions, I don't think there's any charts that I have that I want to show specifically. If you're curious, this is a Weiss wave volume. Basically, look at volume in waves. Don't look at them. I look at individual candles. I don't really trade candle patterns anymore. I don't know. I'm just not good at it. But I do trade or chart patterns. Excuse me. It's like triangles, wedges, etc. But I do trade like candle patterns. So I see that this is a hanging man. That is a bearish reversal pattern. If I wanted to look at the volume on that, I would turn my volume on and I would see, okay, the volume on this hanging man is respectable. You know, it's not the greatest, so I wouldn't short immediately here. As you see, that would have been a bad idea because you had a green candle would have stopped you out. But I do look at volume in this way for individual candles, but for overall price movement, I'll use this. So let me see. So Lazy Bear on TradingView. Let me see if I can find his Weiss wave. Here it is. Put that in the chat. Cool. So this is the script I use for that. Oh man, I just deleted my my chat on accident. Hold on. You can see I'm into a lot of Kanye stuff, a lot of charting. My channel. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out where live streaming. Here we go. Pop out. Cool. All right, my bad. Just had to get the chat back real quick. Cool. Back in business. Other than that, I'll just briefly go over some of like the large caps y'all might care about. I already have them pre-annotated, so that's great because I was doing a lot of charting yesterday. Man, where is it? Was I using Bitfinex? Sometimes when you chart so much, you start like losing track. I'm really trying to figure out where it is my I had a great Ethereum chart. Bitfinex. Yeah, here we go. So basically, hanging man, that is a hanging hanging man candle. As you can see, it is a bearish single candle reversal pattern. Boom. Looks just like this. Small upper wick, huge lower wick. It's a sign of selling pressure entering the market. You see that the volume from this up move is pitiful compared to the dump. If you want to fib it out, you see that we're in this area of like major fibs. So we'll see how that works out. I expect us to touch the 50% fib, maybe even just a little bit. See how that works out. Looking at the daily, we have this pitchfork. So we're still in this pitchfork. We're still in this uptrend. There we go. The 12 hour shows it much better. So I drew the pitchfork using the 12 hour, not the daily. So we're in here. Actually, I think this is a completely separate pitchfork than the one I had on the daily. Uh, that's another thing about pitchforks. They're kind of subjective, so you have to figure out how you want to draw them and what you want to pay attention to. For me, this is a level important. It was support here, brief support here, resistance here, and now we're interacting with it again. You see we're cutting it up, just chopping up this level, um, getting a lot of reactions to it. So in combination with the hanging man on the weekly candle, I see that we fell out of the pitchfork, which lets me think that, okay, this is like a loss of momentum. I talked about we were at major fib levels. Uh, so if you see this here, pay attention. Here's some buy volume. Here's some sell volume. So the sell volume cumulatively outpaced the buy volume, right? Beat it. So now what I'm looking for is, you see here we have a higher high. If we have lower volume on a higher high, that is volume divergence. That means less people in the market are participating as price gets higher. That means that demand is diminishing. And so I look for some, and then this red candle, or not red candle, red sell volume lets me know supply is creeping into the market, right? So the combination of diminished demand and decreasing supply will let me know Ethereum is, it's time to short it. It's going down, right? It's not good. So, you might want to wait for more confirmation, maybe on another weekly candle. So we zoom out to the weekly. Uh, Price doesn't always stop like literally on a dime. So a hanging man, this might be followed by a shooting star. You might want to pay attention to that. Uh, but it could just go straight down. We don't really know, right? But this is letting you know, start to look for short entry signals or start to look for weakness in the market. Um, if this was like on a monthly candle, it would definitely be like, oh, short entry signal. But it depends on the time frame you're trading. Uh, if you really want to go short or not. If you're somebody who literally only looks at the charts a couple times a month, then you probably only trade the monthly view. And if you only trade the monthly view, things are bullish for you. There would be no reason to short. Absolutely not. Uh, but if you trade like the weekly view, right? Okay, we're looking kind of. Ethereum has seen better days, right? Falling out this pitchfork, possible volume divergence. So, and the reason I'm showing this is because Ethereum tends to, not tends to, but people think Ethereum leads the way for alts, which, I mean, it does. It's a large platform. Many ERC20 tokens are on it. So you would think there would be a correlation between the performance of Ethereum with other alts. True and not true. Depends. Especially now that crypto is becoming a more mature market, there's less reliance. Um, what exchange is this? Hold on. Bitfinex. There's less reliance on Ethereum. Let me see Litecoin. Oh, yeah, Litecoin. Litecoin is a buy right now. Yeah. Let me turn on the B band so you can see what I'm looking at. Please pop up. I'm in front of company. If you want to know what type of B bands I use, I pretty much use the log version of every indicator. FS Crypt has them. He's great. Oh yeah, you see this. So we actually caught B band resistance at the median line, and so I put this here like when we were on the way down. So I've always been looking at this. I said enter at a touch of the bottom B band at support. So we're already at support. That's what this blue zone is. Um, you see, consolidated here, shakeout popped up, caught price here, caught price here, caught price here, and now it's catching price here. This bottom zone, I have annotated as typically featured shakeouts. So before price went higher, you see these wicks into this zone, stopping out long positions before upward continuation. But yeah, Litecoin is in demand seems to remain dominant over supply. Yeah. So all these are annotations I wrote like maybe a week or more ago. So it's just good to see that, that's a sign that your TA is somewhat consistent, right? You mark something, you come back to it later, it's still relevant. So Litecoin is definitely at support. That's not to say it won't break support, but we don't really, it's not that we don't care about that. We care about high probability, low risk. We're not concerned about the low probability scenario. We want to keep the low probability scenario in mind, definitely, because that kind of lets you know where your stops should be. But you want to trade the high probability setup. The high probability setup is that price will continue to hold here at this support zone and then make a move upwards. Simple as that. So Ethereum, be cautious, would not buy. Litecoin, dump your retirement into. Again, not financial advice. Ripple. Let's see what Ripple's looking like. Just because, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's a large cap. I actually don't have Ripple annotated. I think I started and then just said fuck it. But this is definitely a zone right here. There's some type of reaction happening right here. I don't think I would mark it like that though. I'd probably mark it like this. Oh man, laptop's starting to move slow. Yeah, that's probably how I'd mark it. Um, it's definitely at some type of support. I don't really care for Ripple. I'm not gonna chart it out right now. But if you just drew a line right here, you see support, support, uh, support, support, right? Um, should I stop being lazy? Yeah, let me just go ahead and draw the rectangle. Lines are easy to draw. Rectangles take a little more. You want to be careful with your rectangles. That's probably how I draw it. And then if I actually want to go back in time, I'd probably draw this way. I just want the wick up until the close right before the up move. It's kind of all I care about. Oh man, here we go. Laptop moving slow again. Yeah, I'm gonna have to end this live stream soon. My laptop does not like this at all. I'm gonna take that. This is just gonna help me expand it out easily. Cool. And so that's support. You saw we touched it. This is a level of support. This is a level. This is a level. You want to know how I got that? I mean, again, like I said, for support, I'm going to take the wick up until the candle body right before a big move. Again, you see the wick and the candle body right before a big move to the downside. So in this case, I'm using the upper wick. And that's kind of like how I use that. This is good for Ripple right here. You see these wicks coming in. That lets you know there's a lot of buying pressure entering the market. So Ripple doesn't look horrible. It seems to be holding support. Let me actually look at the USD. I mean, it looks similar. I don't really want to look at this. I'd probably, damn, that wick is so long. I'm probably not going to use that. What if I did use it? What would it look like? Like that? Yeah, I'm not going to use that. So yeah, what's that support for the? Oh, oops, zoom out too far. Is that support for the USD value too? Um, so I mean, Ripple's not a horrible buy. You could have poor entries. I'm not gonna say it's the best entry, but you can do worse. Look, I've already started, so I'm like, I might as well just finish. Yeah, so I mean, those would be the levels I'm looking at for Ripple. Looks like a decent buy right now. So you put the Bollinger Bands on there. Yeah, yeah. It was definitely oversold here. Came completely out the bands, popped up at support. I'm sure if I looked at RSI or something, let me look. I'm sure if I looked at RSI, there'd be some type of div. Oh, no, there's no div. No div. Let me look at stochastic RSI. That's bottomed out, so that looks like that's about to pop up on the daily. So, yeah, Ripple actually looks straight, unfortunately. I'm not going to do Bcash. Just don't want to. I think I have a chart of it already. I'll just show it briefly. Is Bcash not on Binance? Oh, I guess not. It's on Bitfinex. But yeah, so you see this. Um, it was resistance. This area is now serving as support. Let me turn the B bands on so that comment makes sense. So I said decent lower wick at B band median. That's what's happening here, serving as support. We'll see where it goes from here. The volume, the buy volume is pitiful. Clear volume divergence here. Higher high, less volume. So that would have been a great time to sell at a prior resistance level. If you didn't short that, well, I didn't short that. So let me not talk about nobody because that would make me a fool as well. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Nobody has asked any questions. I don't even know if the live stream is of great quality, but I do know when YouTube renders it, and you can watch it later, it'll look good. So it's pretty much all I have. And I should be